Humans Don't Make Good Familiars, Book 3, Chapter 5, Jake's Point of View. The sound of wing-wings announced the arrival of the last few participants of the exercise. The remaining members of our team and the last 2 members of the other team landed with their groups. Suma and the lieutenant landed by the captain, while Rue and Odin's landed by 9, who had shown up earlier. I walked up to Suma and asked, "Are you okay?" But she didn't answer. She was staring off into space. The sparkle around her was dim, and she seemed distracted. "Suma!" I reached down and placed a hand on her wing to get her attention.
"Ah!"
She shouted and flinched. A pang of hurt hit my heart for a second, but she quickly said she was sorry.
"Oh, Jake, I am so sorry. I am still a bit anxious for some reason."
"My sincerest apologies, Private Suma, but me lingering effects of my spell," the other captain said, fluttering down next to us. "Your spell?" I asked. "Yes, sir. I cast a spell on her during the exercise. It appeared she has a low tolerance for mind magic. She'll likely feel uneasy for a few more hours until the effects dissipate." "Are you okay?" I asked Suma again.
Yes, I will be fine,"
she answered. "Who won?" a member of the other team suddenly called out. For a moment, I held my breath for a moment, nervous to hear the answer. "It was our loss," the captain of the enemy team announced, and I sighed, relieved. Captain Gagalas nodded his head respectfully, while the rest of our team, minus the lieutenant, celebrated.
"We're so sorry, Captain,"
one of the other team members said. "Do not be. You all performed admirably. Tomorrow we will resume our training and seize victory next time," the captain said proudly, and ordered his team into formation before flying away with them. With that, our team was left in the forest. "Squad 3, Captain Gagalas said, catching everyone's attention. "Good job. You all performed your role to the best of your ability and accomplished the mission. Because of that we won, and will proceed to the next step, our first mission."
"Sir, are you sure we are ready?"
Rue asked.
"We lost almost every member of your team in this exercise."
Instead of answering a question, he asked one to the lieutenant. "Lieutenant Datu, how many teams have you been a part of during your time with the Drake squads?"
7, sir.
"And how many missions have you been on?"
15, sir.
"I do not understand, sir. What was the point of asking her that question?" "Lieutenant Datu, of those 15 missions, how many were successful?" the captain asked, ignoring Odin's.
14, sir.
"And how many of your former teammates have you seen recently?"
3, sir.
"That one," she answered, coldly, solemnly even. "And why is that?" the captain asked.
"Because of the 35 teammates I have served with, only 3 have survived our mission, sir." "What?"
Rue asked. Her voice sounded both confused and horrified. "We expect a high mortality rate in the Drakes. We lay our lives down with each mission we accept. Not because we expect to live, not for glory, but because if we do not do these missions, if no one does them, Nyama die. Innocent hatchlings, mothers, fathers, they are why we fight. They are why we die. You each had your own reasons for joining. Some because you knew that serving a year with us fulfilled your military requirements. Some because you wanted to make a difference. Whatever your reason was, this is it now. Not for yourself, but for them. For the mission," the captain said. As he spoke, I felt cold. There were no chills running down my spine. Instead, my palms got clammy and my mouth went dry. I tried and failed to swallow that same knot that has been showing up more and more recently in my throat. "How high is the mortality rate?" I asked.
50% per mission,
the lieutenant answered.
"Why? Why did you not tell us about this?"
Rue asked quietly. "This is the Drakes, the most dangerous covert operation teams in our kingdom. You already knew," Gagalas answered. "Yeah, but I sure didn't like to think about it," I thought, finally facing reality. "Sir, we won. What's our mission?" I asked. "Before we move on, does anyone have anything they'd like to say?" the captain asked. No one spoke up. They were probably either in shock or just didn't know what to say. I felt Suma's emotions through our link. She was confused, scared, and angry. She was well within her rights to be, I guess. "All right, then, our first mission is to move behind enemy lines to the island of Sangu."
"For what purpose?"
the lieutenant asked. "Assassination," Captain Gilgallis said. "Our scouts report that the Southern Union is utilizing a powerful weapon, which is how they were able to take the island in the first place." "Sir, you said that it was an assassination. Did you mean sabotage?" I wondered. "No. The weapon is a powerful familiar." "What familiar could be powerful enough to take on hold the whole island? Some kind of lesser dragon?" I asked. "The reports suggest the familiar is called Harbinger, and that it fits the description of a Viking," the captain said. There were other questions asked, and I think some of them were even asked to me, but I couldn't hear them. All I could hear was a single thought repeating in my head. A person.
Lieutenant Datterhugh's point of view. Luminous braids hung from the ceiling of Captain Gilgallis's office, cast a dim shadow on the three of us, myself, Captain Gilgallis, and Captain Nixon. It had been 4 hours since our teams concluded the exercise, and resumed normal duties around base.
"Your assessment?"
Gilgallis asked.
"Your team is impressive. They came up with a good, if a bit odd, strategy and executed it fairly well. For the most part, I suggest more evasion maneuverability training. But I do think they are ready,"
Nixon said.
"And what of Sentinel and Suma?"
He asked, this time to me. Suma is fast, and a highly skilled healing mage to be sure, though her attacks still need work, I said.
"Agreed,"
Nixon said.
"They're familiar, though. He is impressive."
He took a deep breath and closed his eyes for a moment.
"That display he made was immense. I have never seen anything like it before. Controlling a spell inside of it proved more difficult than I assumed it would be. I felt like as soon as the mana built up inside me, it changed somehow and threw the balance of the spell off. In combat, that is a dangerous thing."
Gilgallis asked.
"Yes, I noticed that as well. Speaking of your lightning, how much did you hold back when you hit him?"
Nixon said.
"I did not. There were healing mages on standby, and I heard he was much more durable than most mages, so I hit him with my normal attacks. The fact that he was barely injured and merely rendered unconscious is astounding. An attack of that caliber could have been enough to kill any unprepared DMer."
You attacked a member of my squad with full force, I asked, irritated.
"We need to know what he can do, Datu, even if it means getting that information in unpleasant ways,"
Gilgallis said, his voice growing intense.
"That being said, I specifically requested you test my team, not try and kill them." "It is a Viking, Gilgallis. It is not a teammate. If it dies, then so be it. But if I'm expected to trust—" "Enough,"
Captain Gilgallis said, not so calmly.
"He is not your teammate. He is my subordinate. And if you ever do something like this again, I guarantee you will not live long enough to regret your mistake. They just not tempered your blood any, I see."
Nixon sighed.
"Fine, his actions are on your head. For now."
Back to the debriefing. Regarding your spell against Suma, why did you not hold back your spell against her? I asked, trying to defuse the situation.
"I did. When I told you that I simply made a mistake, that was no lie. She really is quite sensitive to mind magic. Harming her was truly an accident,"
he said.
"It was a good thing I caught the mistake early. As sensitive as she is to it, she might have suffered permanent harm or gone catatonic."
Perhaps some training for resisting mental attacks is in order for the squad, I suggested. Captain Gilgallis nodded in agreement.
"Any further statements about the rest of Squad 3 before we move on?"
Gilgallis asked Nixon. He had nothing, so we moved on to our opinions about Nixon's squad.
End of chapter. I'd greatly like to thank our Tier 5 channel members, Casper Arnholtz, John Creighton, Manatharia, 050, Dragzoon W.R.E, and Elijah Silvercross. Thank you very much.